Hey everyone, welcome to No Ideas Media. I'm Nick Syke, and today I want to fill you in on a couple of news items that you may not have heard about. It was impossible for me to pick one of these stories for a video, so News Roundup it is. Story 1. Midwest underwater. Nebraska, Iowa, and Wisconsin, the Midwest, is in big trouble, and up until the last few days, there hasn't been a heck of a lot of coverage of the problem. So what's going on? A bomb cyclone drenched the Midwest in heavy rains in previous weeks, which started melting all the snow, adding a bunch more water on top of frozen ground that can't really absorb it. It's a really bad situation. In Nebraska specifically, flood records have been breached in 17 places across the state. 74 cities, 65 counties, and 4 tribal areas have issued emergency declarations. Thousands of people have been evacuated, and the Nebraska Farm Bureau put early estimates of ranching losses at $500 million and row crop losses at another $400 million. And that's just in Nebraska. Farmers are losing their herds, their crops, their entire farms right now, and once the floodwaters recede, the entire season is going to be lost cleaning up the mess left behind. Water quality is also a major concern. This disaster has the potential to have a major impact and could literally reshape the landscape of agriculture there. So many family farms are barely holding on these days as it is. This flood may be the final straw for many farmers in the region. In a Washington Post story, fifth-generation Nebraskan farmer Anthony Ruzicka is quoted as saying, "I'm 39 years old. I don't have children. The cows are my children, and my farm is completely destroyed. Maybe it's a sign from God to go and do something else." A dam near Anthony's ranch burst. The torrent of water overtook a portion of his calves, all his bulls, the original 1860s homestead, his house, bins, and outbuildings. That's one farmer in one state in an entire area of the United States that has been absolutely devastated. And that's devastating for the economics of those states as well as the people living there. No Ideas Media is watching closely, and our hearts go out to the people of the Midwest and the entire ag industry there. Story number 2. Bad bacon. U.S. Customs and Border Protections recently made their largest ever agricultural seizure at a New Jersey port. 1 million pounds of pork smuggled from China, and they're worried it could be diseased. Let me explain. China likes pork a lot. They have the most pork. They produce the most pork. They consume the most pork. They import the most pork. They don't have that much to share with anybody else. And lately, you know what? That's been all right with everybody else, because China has had a pork problem recently. African Swine Fever. This disease doesn't impact human beings. It's not something you and I are going to catch from eating bad bacon, but boy, oh boy, is it bad for pigs. It's highly contagious. It's got a 100% mortality rate for domestic and wild pigs. 100%. It's killed over 1 million pigs in China so far, and they're struggling to contain over 100 separate outbreaks across their provinces, which could be an absolute fiasco for their pork industry, or any country's pork industry, if the swine fever problem jumps borders. American officials, for example, estimate that a swine fever outbreak in America could cost $10 billion in damage to the pork industry in the first year alone. Remember the previous story? American ag is tough enough already. So I mean, you can imagine the surprise in New Jersey when, over the course of several weeks, border officials kept finding mostly cured, unrefrigerated meat hidden in packages of noodles and laundry soap. Unfortunately, experts think that swine fever could find a way into North America pretty quickly, and this latest incident confirms that there are ways it could happen, and that would be a very bad thing for North America. Canada, as an example, doesn't import any pork products or swine from countries that aren't certified as swine fever free. That's how serious this is. We're not taking any pork products from China right now, obviously. Back to those graphs for a second. Canada exports a lot of pork to the rest of the world, 70% of our total production. And we've experienced the sting of our livestock and meat products being embargoed by other countries. Remember mad cow disease? Yeah, we're not going to repeat that mess again with pork. If swine fever makes it here, we could expect to see our exports to many countries totally halted, and that would be a catastrophe for our industry. Needless to say, Chinese pork ending up in a North American port right now is bad. It's not going to help the already bad trade spat between the US and China, and you have to wonder about the motivations here and the implications. they're kind of crazy. Anyways, those are a couple of things that I thought you ought to know about. I hope you enjoy these news roundups. If you like what you see on this channel, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe consider supporting us on Patreon. We could always use the help. Also, if you Facebook, we're on there too, and Twitter, No Ideas Media. We're talking all over the web. We'll see you next time.